So I just need to
Anybody wants to make a
clarify
public
that.
comment, there's a
What
sheet
date
up
I'm
here.
looking is actually.
You can sign it.
Yeah, we talked today about helping ourselves. Yeah. Right. Well, you just asked for
Pretty much at this point, right? I do miss it.
Gonna start curling?
Well, I have.
Such a big deal.
How many times were we being champions? Pretty good history up there.
I'm checking the wall now.
Check that wall.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Are you good? Are you good?
Kiddo's not here yet.
Well, if your name's on the wall.
Average at best.
My name's there a few times.
You got a little time? See what I check.
No, I love it. I do.
Are you gonna be able to?
It's nice to do something in the winter, you know?
I told you, I said, I'm not gonna look
I took the children's break for a while too.
I was gonna.
No, do I have?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I have 7 o'clock, so we'll get our meeting started.
I saw your email. People
Nikki,
celebrate.
could you?
I wanted it to be in the eye.
Yes, Nikki Austin, present, Jim Curran is absent, Mike Davis.
Present.
Mike Fraseth,
Present.
Nicole Josephs.
Present.
Teresa Keen.
Present.
Steve Mayer.
Present.
Terry Montgomery.
Present.
Phil Westberg, is he?
Absent.
He's absent, okay.
All right. Next, I need a motion to approve our agenda for our meeting tonight, March 9th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Terry and a second by Nikki to approve the agenda for our board meeting tonight, March 9th, 2026. All those in favor by voice vote, say aye. Opposed, nay. This is a very exciting time. We have our Student Excellent Awards for February. So it's a great time to honor some of our fantastic students. So it looks like we will start with our elementary students, and I think our Abraham Lincoln one will be here next month. So we'll start with Northside.
All right. So Northside is excited to announce that Xavier Folk is our Northside Student of the Month for February. He is a 5th grader in Mrs. Brandt's class, and Xavier is just like the epitome of a respectful young man. He is always doing what's right. He is polite. He has manners, and he is what we hope that all of our elementary students, like when we talk about our proud behaviors, and we hope that you just demonstrate them all, Xavier. And Mrs. Brandt wasn't able to make it tonight, but she gave me her speech that she wanted to share about Xavier. I have the pleasure of presenting an award to a student who has truly defined what it means to grow. We talk about success in school. We don't just mean getting the right answers. We mean showing up every day with a heart ready to learn and a spirit ready to help. That is exactly what Xavier has done this year. Xavier has made incredible strides in every single area of school. Whether it's a tough math problem or a complex reading assignment, his work ethic has been second to none. He doesn't shy away from challenges. Instead, he dives in and participates as much as he can. Watching his confidence grow has been one of my favorite parts of the school year. But Xavier's growth just isn't about his grades. What makes him stand out is how he treats people around him. He is constantly respectful and kind, not just to his friends in the room, but to everyone he encounters throughout the day. He is the kind of person who leads by example. Xavier, your hard work and your kindness have not gone unnoticed. All of us at Northside are so proud of the student and the person you are becoming. So congratulations, you deserve this, and keep up the great work.
Xavier, I am Mike with the Board of Education, and you probably don't know this, but I have been fortunate enough to witness his kindness in action a couple years ago when you probably didn't even know anyone was looking. On the first day of school, I think you were probably in 3rd grade, a kindergartner arrived and was crying, and I watched Xavier go up and ask how she was doing and grab her hand and ask if she needed help and take her to the right door. So it's that kindness and compassion that your teacher talked about and that I personally have witnessed. that is going to lead you to do great things for your school district and for your future. So we really appreciate your efforts, and to honor tonight, we've got a certificate and a gift certificate to Barnes & Noble. So thank you for being awesome.
Parkside has two tonight, so one that wasn't able to make it last month, so I'll turn it over to Jen.
Sounds great. We're gonna start with Cora and Mrs. Kenny. Come on up. Welcome, Cora. Cora, you gotta face the audience because the camera is this way. They wanna see you, okay? See that little camera in the corner up there? Oh yeah, they're looking at you. All right, Cora is a third grader in Mrs. Kenny's class. And Cora, I love your story. Cora would say, and she would honestly say with that big smile that she has on her face right now, school hasn't always been easy. There's some challenges that Cora's worked incredibly hard to overcome. And we are so proud of Cora for overcoming those challenges and always wearing that smile that she has on her face right now. So, Mrs. Kenny, will you tell us why you nominated Cora and why we are so excited to have her here tonight?
Yes, so first, I sent Cora on a fake mission up to the office so that I could ask her classmates to write one word to describe her. Because of course we were working in adjectives, so it was a perfect way to just put that in there. So this is what her classmates said about Cora. She's loving, she's hopeful, smart, sweet, kind, and nice. Someone who always tries her best. So we chose her because she consistently shows she cares for others. She gives her best effort and brings a positive spirit in the classroom every day. All of these qualities clearly show that she has a heart that shines both in and out of the classroom. Staff and family all agree, seeing these same traits reflected in everything she does and the way she treats others. It is without a doubt proof that she's a great candidate for Parkside Student of the Month. Thank you, Cora, for being you.
Hi, Cora. I'm Steve with the school board, and I'm so happy to present you with this award. The one thing that I noticed when you came up, you were a big smile on your face. You have a beautiful smile, and keep smiling your whole life because it's a good trait to have. You know, even when you're having a bad day, keep that. Just remember, it's always better. So, congratulations! We got a certificate for you and a gift certificate from Barnes & Noble.
Next, I'm excited to celebrate fifth grader Braden. Mr. Schulte, if you'll join us. Braden, Mr. Parody will fact check me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe Braden is the first one that can say he not only got a fire truck ride to school, but it came with a police escort also. So we won't talk about where Braden lives for his safety. However, he lives in a very busy area. And every time we have a fire truck ride, we pull into the fire station in the morning, and we should all feel incredibly safe because firefighter Tony knows where everybody lives, how the driveways work, where he's gonna pull in, where I need to park, how he's gonna turn around. He has this little plan for me. And so I said, so you know where Braden lives? He's like, oh yeah, the police are gonna meet us on this street. I'm gonna go through the stop sign. You follow right behind me. Don't stop. Stay with me. And then they'll close it off so that we can both get through. So Braden, although we are here to celebrate your excellence, know that you have that special brag as well. So Braden, a fifth grader, and we love being able to say we were able to celebrate you as Student of the Month at Parkside before we send you off to the middle school. So Mr. Schulte, will you share why you nominated him and why you were able to persuade Parkside to vote for Braden?
I didn't have to do the persuading. Braden's actions speak for himself. Although sometimes his actions might be small, but they're every single day he's doing the right thing. Piece of paper on the ground, he picks it up. He's not looking around to see who's watching. He's always ready to go for class. He's always helping someone. He just knows when to do the right thing and always does it. So with that, I'm proud of Braden and his sense of humor. He's just overall really well-rounded person and keeps me sane most of the time in class. He's always the one paying attention, kind of looking. His humor goes throughout the whole classroom. So can't speak enough great things about Braden.
Congratulations, Betty.
Hi, Braden. I'm Mike from the school board. I've been in town here since 1984. Had 4 kids that went through the school, and I have never, ever heard of anybody that got an escort to school. About the only thing I can really say to you is great job, and really just keep doing what you're doing. It's excellent. Congratulations. Keep up the work.
And I think we'll move to the high school, Mr. Jackson, if that's okay, and hopefully our middle school kiddo will be able to get here.
All right, Monroe High School Student of the Month is senior Alexis Gerch. Alexis was a popular choice. Mr. Dixon actually nominated her, but then when I put her out we vote every month on who's gonna be the person. I had 3 teachers comment back to me like, ooh, that was a good one. I should have done that. So you beat them to it, but thank you. So I'll have Mr. Dixon talk about why you nominated her.
Yeah, so Alexis is a great person. I've known her for a long time, but I really didn't think about her for Student of the Month until she was gone. Like, so when you don't realize the value of a person until they're gone. And she was gone from a basketball game. I was working a basketball game and I realized the team seemed lost, right? So and just her leadership out on the court was fantastic. It's fantastic to watch and really provides a lot of strength on the team. She's also in our AP Physics class, and when she was gone, I noticed that the feel of the class, the vibe, the energy was a little lower. And I thought, well, she got the award this year for class captain of our AP Physics class. And so I just think that's a really neat attribute of hers, so like to be that leader, to be that person that is super engaging and super funny, and to make people feel like at home and comfortable with themselves and just enjoy being there. So you're that person. So congratulations. That's really neat. So it's good to know you. So
Good to know you too.
So I'm Nicole with the school board. I think I have noticed maybe before Mr. Dixon did that you're pretty awesome. Known you for a while, you've always been very uplifting, very encouraging. I mean, you're like the glue of the tennis team. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen now that you're leaving. Just keep it up. I know you will. Wish you all the best at lacrosse.
Thank you.
Well, we still have some time, so what we'll do is we'll go to our Staff Excellence Award. And I'll have,
the middle school is rolling deep
middle
tonight.
school, yes.
So this is our district-wide winner. This is Alex Pretty Valle. He is new to our district as of September. So we're really glad you came. I'm going to say a few things about that. This is Tara Greeley, who's a special education aide who's actually under Alex's tutelage to get her licensure in spec ed by the end of this trimester. And this is Lindsay Seekert, a spec ed colleague as well. So Alex is a former grad of Monroe that left Wisconsin for the similar type of weather we're having today and went to California. And he came back. And thankfully, Alex, you came back. Honestly, we haven't been the same since. In my career at the middle school over the past 12 years, I think, there's been a few people who have changed positions that have truly made a quick and sustained positive impact on the building and culture at MMS. My short list is Lindsay Doming moving from spec ed to the AP, and Val, Bryson, and Sarah Swartzel transitioning from the classroom to the interventionist roles in both math and ELA. And now, Alex Pretty Valle. His impact can be heard and seen through his positive interactions, data-driven documents and conversations, and drive and compassion for educating middle schoolers. What a wild choice you've made. Not to mention there's frogs all over his classroom. If you want a cool spot, come check out his room. Alex, you exude a positivity and a genuineness that students and staff gravitate towards. He utilizes his positive connections and student data to push students and his colleagues and his bosses in ways that make you just feel like, we got this. He tracks so much good data that he may actually have spreadsheets that track his spreadsheets. Wild. A fine example of this is one of his data docs that has a tab labeled current data, and right next to that is a tab that says, in a data perfect world. Alex, we're so happy you came back and know that in just 2 trimesters, you're already making a huge positive impact on me, the MMS staff, and the district. I look forward to seeing all the positive changes that are on the horizon for all in your orbit. Congratulations.
So just that Alex is new this year and he's standing here as Educator of the Month for the district kind of speaks volumes, right? So, I've had the privilege of working with him for the last, try and a half, because I didn't initially start out with you, and the things that I have learned from this guy are unbelievable. What he does is he makes an impact that is on our kids, our staff, every single day. He's got a smile on his face. There's no challenge that brings him down, and the camaraderie that that brings to our staff is just second to none. He just brings us all together. He builds strong relationships with the students. Every challenge, again, is just, it doesn't faze him. He just rolls with it. He finds a solution, and we're all like, okay, yep, we can do this. Yep, we got this. So, most of all, when someone can build relationships, strengthen a team, keep students at the center of every decision, that's the kind of educator who changes whole schools. So we are incredibly fortunate to have you.
Well, that was pretty much my speech, so I'm gonna read it anyway. So I have the privilege to see Alex in action on a daily basis. My first impression of him was his positive, upbeat mindset and his sense of calm. As I got to know and work with him, I got to see how incredibly hardworking he is and how he approaches every challenge with strong problem solving and innovative thinking. He makes the job look easy, and I know firsthand that it isn't. He's a great collaborator who is solution focused, creative, and effective. I always walk away from one of our conversations feeling positive, supported, and ready to take on the next challenge. Now, the real reason we become educators is because of the kids. Alex's passion for each student to feel seen, safe, and loved is contagious. He strives to do what's best for kids while also promoting an environment that maximizes their growth. He promotes belonging and opportunity. Alex has so many strengths and just goes above and beyond every day. We're blessed to have him because our school and our community is stronger because he's part of it.
Alex, I'm Teresa, and I just want to say on behalf of the board, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for the impact that you have on our students and our staff and the middle school, and we appreciate you very, very much. We have a plaque to honor you tonight,
Thank you.
and so I'm happy to turn the floor over to you.
I'm looking at Miss McEwen back there. And I just remember my first grade. I was an eloper. I kept on running out of the classroom. I was so nervous to be at school. I would go home every single day before the bell even rang to come in for the day. And it's because that woman that I stuck it through, that she was so positive and so impactful to make sure that I was coming in and being welcomed every day between the M&M jar, between the letter people. Like, those are things that stick with me, and that's why I want to make an impact as an educator myself. I was telling my friends before I came back that Monroe's motto is, "We bring you back." And, you know, they were joking because it sounds kind of like a horror story. Bring you back. But I can tell you that my experience first coming here, as well as my experience coming back here, it's anything but a horror story. This has just been an amazing, amazing fairy tale. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so inspired to come here every day, and it's because of the people that I work with. It's because of the changes that have made here, that we've been making here in Monroe, and the changes that we're going to continue to make here in the future. So thank you.
Before you sneak off, a little something from the Monroe Morning Optimist, so thank you for all you do for kids.
This is in 5 minutes, something happened, so they're on their way.
Okay, so we'll, you know what? Well, that's okay. We'll move on. We'll come back to it. So we'll get a couple of our things in and we'll come back to that. If the group doesn't mind get to hang out and listen to a little more board meeting, that's very exciting. And then we'll do a group picture of all of the student of the month and the staff of the month in a minute. But we will move on and come back to finish this item. All right, so the next thing we have is our consent agenda. Looking to approve our consent agenda, we have our Board of Education meeting minutes from 2/24/26. Approval of support staff retirement at the end of this school year, Jade Motzke, special education aide at Abraham Lincoln Elementary School. Approval and acceptance of community donations. Abby Schmidt Monroe Truck donated many materials to the high school launch advanced manufacturing entrepreneurship launch group. Jim Faith and Faith Engineering donated materials to the high school advanced metals class. And there was clothing donated to Parkside for their carrying closet by Sue Curran. So very incredibly appreciative of all of our community partners and their generous donations. Looking for a motion to approve our consent agenda.
I just wanted to say,
Oh.
Jane Motzke has been in the district for a
I was
very,
gonna
very
ask.
long time, and I had the pleasure of working with her at Abe. And I'm so happy that she's getting to retire and enjoy the rest of her life, so thank you, Jane.
Thank you for saying that. I was gonna ask if we know how long she was here.
I think it's over 30 years.
That's amazing. So that
She
is
was here when I
absolutely
started in
incredible.
'98, so she's
Yeah.
been here a while.
94. Since 94. That's
Okay.
amazing. So a
Yeah.
huge thank you to Jane for giving that kind of dedication to our district and our students and our staff. So congratulations on the retirement for sure.
And then I will second that motion.
All right, so I kind of saw Mike, so I'm gonna take Mike as a first. I'll
Mike
take you as a
Davis,
second. Mike Davis.
Yeah.
I was looking at him, sorry. So someone can. So I have a motion by Mike Davis and a second by Terry to approve the consent items as presented by voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Perfect timing. We have our middle school student of the month joining us. You're up right away.
Right off the bat, come on over, Jack. This is our middle school winner for the month. This is Jack Bruger, 8th grade. Make quite an impression as you come through the hallways and in the board meeting with that hat.
Did you see him on Friday in the full suit, hat and boots?
Yeah,
the only one. Yeah, it's okay.
So Jack doesn't come to my office very often. When I got to pull him in, he said, "Holy cow, I didn't know there was even rooms back here." So I think I've only been to the nurse once or something like that. I said, "Well, that's a lovely thing." Every day. 3 years he hasn't been in my office or didn't even know where Miss Diamond's office was. So how cool is that? That means you're making good decisions. So Jack is a genuine and thoughtful young man. He's always quick to say hi to our staff members, even staff that said they don't even really know him or had him in class, but he knows who they are and always checks in the hallways, which is a pretty cool thing. He's very considerate of his peers and goes out of his way to help classmates feel included. I've talked to a couple staff who have said he's done some behind the scenes conversations with staff to say, put me in this group, or I'd love to partner with this student to make people feel included without doing it in front of the whole class. That's a pretty special thing to do for kids. And if you have teenagers, anybody, or know any teenagers, you know that's kind of out of the ordinary at this age, right? So kudos to you for always looking out for other people. And additionally, I'm excited to see what you can do at high school next year. I know you love hands-on learning, and I think you might have a side hustle and a future career in some welding from what I'm hearing. So I'll let Ms. Burke, his homeroom and science teacher this try, talk more about Jack.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and explain the welding part. So in my room, I have some stools, and every once in a while, they kind of break. And Jack took it upon himself, like, Ms. Burke, like, your stool's broken, what should I do with it? I said, oh, put it in the office. I think the custodian will just unfortunately not be able to fix it. Like, it's a loss. He's like, I know how to weld. I can take this home and I can fix it for you. And he comes by my room at the end of the day. He picks up the stool. He takes it home, comes back the next day, and is completely fixed. He then again finds another stool a little bit later on. And again, he says, I can take this home and I can fix this again for you, Mrs. Burke. It'll be no problem. I said, well, thank you, Jack. And each time he comes back with a stool, I ask, where can I get a gift card for you? Like, as a thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. So I make him take a Jolly Rancher. Like, sorry, kid, you're gonna have a little sweet treat. So that just speaks about Jack and his humbleness and his ability to see problems and find solutions consistently throughout the day. And so I've been very lucky to start my day every day this year with Jack. We do have a hard time reading the board from across the room, so mom and dad, eye doctor appointment, I don't know. Twin sister is agreeing. So there is that, but Jack really has been great being our homeroom teacher this year. I won him this last trimester for science as well. So he did transfer from Ms. McGuire's room to my room, so I'm just get 90 wonderful minutes with Jack every day, so, yeah.
Hi, Jack, how are you? Good. Terry with the Board of Education. I've known you since you were very little. I've known your mom, I've known your grandparents, and so I'm not surprised that you are thoughtful and kind because your whole family is thoughtful and kind. And I know you as also as an entrepreneur. Last summer, he came up to me downtown and said, I'm starting a lawn mowing business, so if you need your lawn mowed, give me a call. And I'm like, okay, I will remember that, Jack. So thank you for your ingenuity and helping people at the middle school to fix things. That's wonderful, and you have wonderful attributes, and those will take you through life. So congratulations. We have a certificate and a Barnes & Noble gift card.
Well, before we move on to anything else, what we'll do is we'll take a picture if everybody, all of the student of the month and Alex, come on up for a picture.
Right here, guys, right in the middle. We'll get out of the way.
No, hold it. Hold it.
You're in there too. Yep. All of you. Good job.
Don't you think he's here?
He is.
He's great.
And then I think Donna wanted to take a picture with you as well.
Congratulations again, guys.
Again, thank you. You're welcome to leave and you're welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the board meeting. Either is fine, no one will be offended. It's up to you.
Run while you can.
Congratulations.
My name was on it, maybe I'd say,
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, the turnout was amazing. Congratulations.
They take after me, not her.
I know.
She's always.
I hope you have a good turnout.
Yep. Congratulations.
See you guys later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Where are you going?
You're not leaving, sit down.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're not allowed to leave.
All right, so we are on to new business, and we have, I'm sorry, we were on to public comment. We had no one sign up for public comment, but is everybody here for the purpose of public comment? Now we're on to new business. The first, we have 2 sponsorships that we have, so the first one is of the therapy classroom, so I'll let Joe
Yeah,
talk
so,
about that.
thanks, Teresa. So we've taken a break from doing some sponsorship announcements for a little bit, and I'm excited that we're starting it back up with this one. This is important to me personally for a couple of reasons. One is that this is for a sponsorship of the therapy room, which is associated with special ed, which obviously is very close to my heart over the years. And we're fortunate enough in the new high school to have a brand new therapy room with dedicated space for occupational therapy and physical therapy, which provides critical services to the kids in our schools. And we're so fortunate to have had a long list of excellent professionals that have worked in that program. And the second reason it's so important to me is that through the Mosier family, we are excited to announce that that room will be named in the honor of Joel and Mosier.
Oh.
Tell Joe something very emotional, and there's Dave with the camera right in her face. What a guy.
It'll be in the nibbles for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, most people know this, but, and Jeremy could be sitting right here next to me as I say this part of it. Joe is someone who's very dear to me. When I started here in 1998, in the lower level of Abraham Lincoln, where your office was, where my office was, Jeremy followed shortly thereafter. Joellen is always someone who provided incredible care and love to kids, including my daughter.
Thank you so much. I mean, I loved every minute of it. And done some volunteer work since I, quit doing the real thing. But love it, and I love the people I've worked with in that area. I'm not much of a speaker.
Well, I couldn't do it, so you had to step in. So once again, you're bailing me out, as
I've
always.
done that before.
You have. And so I think the thing about Jo is not only has she been great for kids, but Jo is a person who's mentored countless professionals, not just these 2 knuckleheads to get us where we're at. But really, and I wrote this in my write-up, Jo is someone who really established the spirit of that team, and it carries on to this day. And when I think about Amy leads that work now, but just a group of really caring, passionate people, and that comes from you. So thank you.
Thank you all.
My picture? Oh, are you gonna get right up in my face? Because then the answer is no. So I just want to say how much we appreciate you. I couldn't think of a better person to name that room after, and it's just means a lot to the district, the community, and me personally.
Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. I've loved every minute of it, and the kids and the staff, and, some of my family have been in there, and I'm glad to see the changes that were made from when I first started in there to what's going on now. It's just fantastic, and done some volunteer work along the way, but mostly, I think it's just a great facility we have, a great staff we have. Everything is really, really top notch here. And I'm not much of a speech maker, so.
No, you get to take a picture. Yeah.
Okay.
Congrats, Jo.
You had to take
I don't know if we want to really.
I think maybe Teresa. Sure, we'll wait.
You should take that picture, Dave.
You should even
Dave, seriously, we should take one with you in it though for the Kiwanis Nibbles too. So I can come grab your phone if you want, or Teresa.
Okay. There's no way in the world I'm gonna be a shadow in this thing. Over.
Did he do it? Did you get your picture? And then we'll get Teresa. All right. Sorry.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Get one with Dave in there though. Wait, Joe, what? Get one with Dave in there though, please.
Dave said he's refusing.
He's taking it. Josh grabbed the phone.
All right. I don't know what it
Maybe Joe.
Sideways or up?
You wanna be up here?
Up the front.
I love this.
It's all good.
1, 2,
Congrats, Joe.
Wonderful staff to work with and. Love it.
All right, we got the hard part of the meeting over with. Now we can get on to some other stuff. Ready to go on the next
Yes, so
sponsorship?
we have another sponsorship that we're gonna do tonight, and that is, well, actually, stop. I have to approve
Oh,
the 10-year
yeah.
sponsorship of the MHS therapy room at the new Monroe High School. So we need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jeremy and a second by Nikki. To approve the 10-year sponsorship at the, for the therapy room at the new high school by voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Congrats, Joe. All right.
Now we have a next sponsorship.
Yeah, so again, we're fortunate to have another sponsorship. This one is for the Family and Consumer Sciences classroom. For those of you that aren't overly familiar with the new high school, that's a really special classroom because it's located right off of the room, which is the large kind of hallway that serves as the spine of the building, but it also features, what are we calling that Jeremy, kind of a showcase window or, which prominently displays all the great work that'll happen in that classroom. We're fortunate, excuse me, I just noticed that the thing that I printed out wasn't right, but that's all right, I can do this from off the top of my head. Bank First, formerly known as First National Bank, has stepped up and has provided a 10-year sponsorship for $10,000. They'll be providing that support. The agreement is for 10 years, but they've indicated that they plan on providing the $10,000 up front. We're really thankful to Steve Schneider for that support of that program. That's going to allow us to make sure that that facility continues to be modern, up to date, has all the technology and all the equipment that we need in order to continue to run a first-class program. We're excited about that program. Longtime teacher Melody Leffelholtz is retiring, but you wouldn't know it because Melody wants to make sure that that program is absolutely perfect going forward. And so we're excited about the future that we hold for that particular program, and special thanks to Steve Schneider and Bank First for their support. What did I miss, Ron?
That's great. Steve and the rest of his team and the rest of their team have been great to work with. And, going back in time, I think, they were some of the original donors and sponsors of the EIE program for us. And so they've been longtime supporters of the district. So it's great that there's a space in our building, even as they transition to a new name, that they're willing to put their name on in our building. So we really do appreciate that.
Again, incredibly appreciative and grateful for that sponsorship. Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is that Mike Frassa?
It is.
So motion by Terry, second by Mike Frossoff to approve the 10-year sponsorship for the new high school family and consumer science classroom as presented. By voice vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Fantastic. And again, a huge thank you. Moving on to the Start College Now program, we have one application for the Start College Now program, so I'll let Jeremy present that for us.
These are pretty straightforward. If a student wants to take classes at BTC or another technical college in the state of Wisconsin, they're able to do so as long as they meet the deadline, which they did, and then that we don't offer the same or a similar course. And in this case, we don't, and I would recommend that Caitlin be able to take these courses. She's looking at English Composition 1, Microeconomics, and Intermediate Algebra with applications. So kind of the general start of her two-year college degree.
Sounds good. Any questions for Jeremy on your application?
So we're approving now for, this is this coming fall,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, the deadline is March 2nd, I believe. and then it's for next fall.
So looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
That was Steve.
Steve, thank you.
I'll second.
Motion by Steve and a second by Nikki to approve the Start College Now application request of Caitlin Schmidt as recommended by Jeremy Jackson. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor by voice vote, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries, so we'll get that signed, it looks like. Moving on to the joint federal notification of special education report.
Yeah, so this is really a celebration and providing an update about some of the great work that's happening in special ed. So we'll turn it over to Amy to talk a little bit about the report and what it means.
Okay, so like Joe mentioned, it's a huge celebration for our district. It's called the Joint Notifications Report. And essentially what it is, it's a report card that's a lot of, like all based on special ed. And it's broken down into, there's like 15 subcategories, but there's 4 major categories that we're rated on. It's graduation and dropout rates, inclusion in the regular education environment. Has to be like 80% of our students are in 80% of the time. Evaluation timelines, there's a lot of paperwork that goes along with special ed, so making sure things are completed on time. And then participation in the state testing, as well as how students do in reading and math. So drum roll, because the district scored a 96%, which is absolutely unbelievable. You need an 80% to meet requirements. So to score such a high rate is absolutely unbelievable. And it's really a testament to actually everyone who works, all staff who work in the district. There's so much work and love that goes into this, and it's leadership, but it's also carried through at every level to make sure our students are getting what they need, they're in an inclusive environment, and just never giving up on them. So I just think it's a great celebration for the district and principals leading that work. Joe doesn't deserve any credit with this at all.
I was gonna say, in order to get the highest score we've ever received, all you had to do is get me out of the position. Good job, Amy.
Does anyone have any questions?
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's huge for the district.
It's a lot of work.
Is this like the report cards? Do we know where other districts stand or?
No one has a 96%.
That's
Actually, I don't know.
I've never seen a statewide list of where other districts are at. It's provided to us through SAFE, which is kind of a confidential data portal. But as far as I know, I don't think they share scores across the district or across the state. I think it's meant to be an internal accountability mechanism to make sure people are getting the work done.
It's really difficult to get this kind of a score. I mean, so, and some of it's from 23, 24 too. I didn't mention that. Some it's lagging data. So it's.
No, I was just gonna say,
Lagging indicators, right?
first thing I said to Amy when she told me is, don't mess it up. No, shoot.
He actually said that.
It's great. And the principals are the unsung heroes in this because they are having these, you heard earlier in the curriculum meeting about the data meetings and how much care goes into kid by kid, looking at their results and what we need to do to provide them adequate support. So just incredible work. Really, really proud of that team.
And our school psychs are huge leaders in this as well.
Wonderful, well, thank you for that update, and thank you for all of your collective work to make that happen. Moving on to food service lunch prices for next year. There is information in our packets about the cost. Every year we set the cost for food service and for lunch and breakfast prices and milk prices. And so we have a recommendation. You want to talk about that?
That'd be Ron.
Ron, to talk about that?
Yeah, so in your packet, you have the prices that compares ourselves along with many districts in the area. We have had the fortunate of having a food service program that's been in the black for a number of years. So there was a few years when we were able to not do increases when prices were, and product was a little more affordable. That kind of keeps us in or ahead of the game. And so basically, you can see our current price and then what we are suggesting to move to compared to what the other districts are currently at already this year. One thing in there I'll point out is breakfast. Breakfast is an area where we don't get a lot of commodities, and to be honest, whether it's something warm like pancakes or whether it's prepackaged goods, it's pretty much the same breakfast at the elementary, middle, and the high school levels. And so with the increase there, we're just looking to make it equal with the high school price, so it'll be $2 across the board, across the district. That is the area that's probably had the greatest impact because we don't get many commodities and it's, with a number of the items being prepackaged, is probably the one that over the last 2 to 4 years has seen tremendous increase in the price of what we have. And, you know, we're not making it up on the labor side of it, so that drives that a little bit. And then on the lunch side of it, again, we have many more lunches that we serve than breakfast. It's the majority of our program. And again, the costs there have been increasing. Some of the commodity levels have been pulled back a little bit. I will say Eric continues to do a great job of, at the end of the year, if any districts haven't claimed out their commodities and some of our suppliers have extra commodities available, we always take them and we utilize them, and it's really helped contain our costs over the years. So the amount of the increase at 20 cents per lunch at the elementary and middle school level and 10 cents at the high school level is because of some of that hard work that he's done. Otherwise, we would have had to probably look at a larger increase.
And even with that being said, Ron, we're still quite a bit below most districts.
Yeah, there's a few districts that, you know, that are on either end of that spectrum, but certainly for the most of the districts, we're gonna be less than where they are this year.
Right.
So our recommendation would be to implement the increases as they're presented.
Not so much a question, but just to point out that this does not affect the reduced or supplemented lunch.
True, yeah, those rates have been set at the same amount my entire career, so going back to the 90s. It's been, now one thing we do that not every district does is for the breakfast, if a child is approved for free, we treat the reduced rate children as also free. And not every district does that, but that's been our policy since we implemented that program. But the 40 cents is the national price on the reduced price lunch, and again, that's been in place for a number of years now. That's a good point. Thanks, Mike.
Any other questions on pricing for next year for breakfast, lunch? Milk too, right?
Milk is the same prices this year, yep.
I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Terry and a second by Steve to approve the food service lunch prices as recommended by Ron and Eric Eckham in food service. Any other discussion or questions? By voice vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, on to policies, second reading. So if you remember, we had a lot of policies that the policy committee had gone over. Previously, we had our first reading at our last meeting, but there's a number of regular policies and administrative policies. Any updates or questions on our second reading for policies?
Yeah, I didn't receive any questions from the board about any individual policies. Mike, I don't know if you had anything at this point beyond what we've discussed that policy in the first reading, so I think we're in pretty good shape.
Well, just again, to reiterate, this is almost all just changes in wording or slight changes to match changes in Wisconsin state statute.
So looking for a motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Nicole and a second by Mike Davis to approve the Neola policy updates as recommended by the policy committee. Any other discussion? By voice vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on to the building project update. We'll turn that over to Joe and Ron for building.
Sure, so I can just start out with, I would say we're at a really fun point in the project. Would you agree with that, Ron?
Absolutely.
You walk in the building and there's new pretty stuff happening all over. You know, it's different when we're digging dirt and putting up walls, and that was certainly exciting. But now some of the finishes are coming into play, and just by way of example, you know, our ceiling tiles are going in, some of the flooring, the design you're seeing, the board and batten on the M wall, when you first come into the M room is going up. We have the bleachers were installed, the Lambu, which is the kind of the wooden visual element, the vertical wooden beams that will be strung along the north side of the M room are going in. The geofoam is being installed in the auditorium, which allows them to put the flooring up to the control room is happening. The amount of work in the Performing Arts Center is just incredible overall. And there's so much more. It's incredible to see how much work is happening in a short amount of time. So, Ron, anything that you want to?
I'll just echo what Joe said in the sense of last week. I think I was only able to get out there on Tuesday. I wasn't able to get back in out there the rest of the week. And the update came on Friday, and there were things that hadn't even been started on Tuesday that were done in the update on Friday. So it really is an exciting time in the project. And so we continue. I did an update for the board last month with some of the owner purchases. We're continuing to work through that. We've had a couple of meetings where we're working on the move. And so there's a lot of dynamics and things that we're working on, you know, in anticipation for this project wrapping up. So it's a fun time.
Ron, I think at the last update, they talked a little bit about the lift station, and there were some meetings with the city gonna happen or some permitting. Do you know where that's gone since our last meeting?
Yeah, they're still having some of those discussions, so I can't say where their discussions with the city exactly are. I can say for the lift station itself, they have most of they had one of those chunk left that may be done now, a week later, but the force main that goes from the lift station all the way up to, basically up to north side, is put in. The building, much of it is now set and up the, I don't want to call it the pit, but the, you know, what everything goes into at the lift station, is in.
The wet well.
Yeah, the wet well, thank you. I knew it had a nicer name than pit.
We got there.
And so really, I think the one thing that they're waiting on or needing to get is, their generator in there, and then, they even have their pumps on site, so it's really, just getting the generator in and getting those final connections made. Once that's in, that'll be the driving thing, and as they said, last meeting, you know, that might be, a couple months out, but we're able to still, do the water things that we have and the needs for the building currently, and support what we're doing. But as we get closer to closing out that building, that becomes a concern that we're monitoring as one of those items that, you know, we just keep a pulse of, and it's gonna be fine for when we start in the fall, but when this spring that it's gonna be ready for us is yet to be finally determined. But yes, they've had some of those conversations. I know Tony was talking with Al, or did talk with Al, but I haven't gotten an update as to exactly where that all has shaken out to this point.
Any other questions? Not totally related, but I think it's important to just mention next week, the 17th, there's the legacy night at the high school, the current high school, and the following week, the 26th.
Yep.
Is the open house at the new
Preview
site,
of
the
it.
preview of the preview of the new site. So both really exciting, so hopefully people are able to attend both of those
It's hard to
events.
believe it's already here.
I know.
It seems like
I
it
know.
should be so far away.
Moving on, we have some construction things to talk about, so some updates on using our contingency funds and some alternatives that we might be able to fund. So I'll turn that over to Ron and Joe as well.
Ron?
Yeah, we introduced this at the last board meeting and just circling back. Obviously, we're at a point now as we're wrapping up the project where, we want to be cognizant of what things we might want to be able to implement that we had put on hold early on the project until we knew that the funding of the project was coming in at good pace. I reshared the budget out there that Ryan had shared at the last meeting, and we're good in all of our line items. We actually have some additional uncommitted funds from our funding sources, the money that we've been able to raise coming in more over the course of the project than we initially budgeted. And then we actually have contingencies both on the construction side of the equation as well as on the owner contingency. And so we're not looking at even touching those dollars at this moment. We would like to keep those in place in case something does come up over these last few months of the project. But we are at a point where at least we can start beginning to talk about and consider what some of those alternates that we might want to look at bringing back are. Probably the three that have risen to the highest level are lights for the varsity baseball and softball, lights on the JV baseball and softball, and then motorized electric hoists in the Performing Arts Center. So we have a counterweight system in the Performing Arts System that's very safe. Many districts utilize it. However, it does require some expertise to be able to supervise that adequately. And so we would like to consider doing some electric hoists in there just to increase in the safety factor on that. So it still works with the counterweighting. It's just the electric hoists are kind of a switch or button driven factor versus someone belaying with the system itself. The counterweights still work, but it's now driven by the electric hoist. And so the two things at this time that we would say let's consider whether we want to take into would be well, I guess I should say we have just over 900,000 that we're comfortable with allocating, and that's without touching those two contingency budgets. And so we aren't really looking at designating all of that straight out of the gate. But certainly the two things that would rise to the top for consideration by the board would be the electric hoist in the Performing Arts Center and the lighting on the varsity baseball and softball fields. We would suggest holding off on the JV fields for now and just till we know that we get a little closer to the end.
Couple financial questions. When I look at the funding sources, so basically what your suggestion is, we've got the total of all construction that we figured using referendum funds, right? That's that 100,040,000, correct?
Yep.
And the total from all the funding sources is 100,962,000. So that's that 920,000 that you're talking about?
Correct.
Can you confirm the bond interest income? That seems like a very round number to be confirmed that that's what we're going to be able to keep and spend?
Yeah, it's a round number in the sense of that's a conservative number right now. So we actually anticipate that we'll have even more interest earnings than that, but we know that we're going to have to cut that arbitrage check back to the IRS because of the amount of interest that we've been able to earn over the course of this project. And so I use a conservative number in there. Our investment people have a number that they are anticipating that check going back to the IRS is, but we can't afford a surprise as a school district. And so we need to have a number in there that we're safe that will cover that. That allows us to do some other things at the end. That's great. You don't want to have a hopeful number in there and then all of a sudden we have to rebate more dollars back to the IRS and it lowers that amount. So I would say, yep, it's a round number, but that's because I'm conservatively looking at what is the projected earnings that we can pretty well dial in. It somewhat depends upon how we spend out the rest of the project, but it's really close, we're getting to that point now where we can have that pretty dialed in. However, what we don't know is until, even though my financial guys are running the projections of what we'll have to go back to the IRS we'll have basically CPA firm that's all they do is rebate arbitrage, and they'll do the final calculation. And so until I see their final numbers, I always give a little conservative look at what that might be.
Your conservative risk, or conservative number is very little to no risk to the district is.
Correct. My hope would be that we might actually end up with some additional revenue there because the rebate arbitrage check going back to the IRS may be less than what I'm carrying as a potential number or cost for the district.
Second question, the CTE grant funds, are those just the funds that were dedicated to construction? Because I know there was some of those funds that we talked about were to fund the teaching positions for that space. Those are separate from what's in this number?
Yeah, it was originally a $2 million grant, $1.5 million were committed to the project. And then the remainder was for funding some of the people who are supporting the building trades project now. And then also for the next couple, 3 years, we've added an instructor. You can see that's set at $1,311,785. That reflects the actual costs associated with the addition from C.G. Schmidt as well as the design costs with PRA. So we're actually a little under what we had said was going to be allocated from that grant to match what our true expenses are that we'll be able to claim out. I don't want to put a $1.5 million in there and only be able to authorize 1.3 of claims. So that additional dollars will help offset the continuing cost for the instructors and that building trades program going forward.
So approving these amounts, our owner contingency won't really change.
No, not with these. This would change, that gap, as Mike said, between the, 100.9 million and the 100 million that we have in the budget right now. It won't change those contingencies. And I think I shared in the write-up that right now, there are some things from the existing project updates that we're doing, the change orders that have been in there, that will be transferring some money like out of our owner contingency over to the construction side of the equation. And so it's kind of interesting with our system right now where we have some contracts that we hold because we had some local contractors we wanted to work with who are non-union. And then with the contracts that C.G. Schmidt holds, whenever there's a change in one of those piles, either I have to give them money or they have to give me money back to make sure that we're tracking all those contracts out correctly. And so there's always a little more movement than just a true change order. Sometimes it's just a shifting of where the cost allocations are, but these items won't hit the contingency. These would be outside of the contingencies. These would be looking at those additional dollars that are there.
Is Huffman Keel, are they still pretty confident there's enough contingency remaining there, or should we be holding back additional in case we're gonna need it? I mean, the majority of the owner-funded items are, we still have a lot to go, right?
Yeah, they were comfortable. I would say probably a month ago, before we started looking at some of these last change order things, they were probably even of the mindset that we could look at either some of the construction contingency or the owner contingency and allocate a bit toward the project as well. And to be honest, Dave, as we talked through that, myself, Tony, Ryan, we decided let's not go there yet. There is enough time and enough variables out there, so we didn't allocate additional dollars out of the contingency budget for the board to consider at this point in time. So they are comfortable with it. Mike had asked me earlier today, can we, do we have to do this now? And I would say we don't have to do this now. Certainly the pack is probably more time sensitive because they're still in there doing the rigging. Our electricians are still in there on site. And so certainly there are some increased cost avoidance by doing that now. With the lights, you know, we weren't sure if we were gonna be able to do the lights, and so can the lights be done later? Yep, they could be done later. Obviously, we start playing on those next spring, so, you know, if we wanted to wait till later in the summer, that's a possibility. Probably the biggest impacts are, you know, some of the trades and or some of the supervision of the project will start pulling off. And so, you know, will we have to bring any of them back on? We might not have to, but that's something to consider. Some of the equipment that we're utilizing in the construction side of the equation might be pulled off so that then the people who are installing the lights got to bring or rent equipment to do it.
Which
So
could
that's
cost us more money.
so that could cost some more money. And then the third thing that probably is in there is, you know, we had talked earlier about doing all the bases, and then that was when they were decided to hold on contingency. They did all the bases for the lights that are in concrete or blacktop out there. But there are some that goes around the fields in grass that aren't in, they're stubbed out, they're all ready, but the bases aren't in. So if we do delay, there is the possibility, yep, we'll finish some landscaping, come in with some equipment, do the bases, and then, you know, have to redo some landscaping, just meaning flattening the ground out, planting grass again. So there are some costs that are in there, but they're not enough that I would say have to deter us or force our hand one way or the other, but there are considerations.
Is there a possibility of looking at some of the lower priority items and maybe not completing the entire project, but putting it, you know, on its way towards completion? Like, does that make sense? Like, you know, like you just said about the lighting for baseball and softball. So like tennis is listed on here. Do they have electric pulled out to the courts?
Yeah, they have a base that's out
So
there.
they do
but they
have
don't.
it.
They haven't.
They just don't
they
have
don't
the
a
lights.
pole,
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking if there was any like base work that could be done while we're still in the construction phase
Yeah.
and then finish it out later
Yeah,
when we know
and that's a
more.
perfect example where basically, with that, it's one big light pole that's in the middle that then shoots out in all directions. And so we never knew if that was even going to become a reality, even if we had the funds, whether the board was gonna prioritize that. But for that very reason, we had to make sure we put in the base and the
Perfect, okay.
electric conduit, because even if it's not done now, even if it's wanting to be done 5 years from now, you don't want to tear into those tennis courts, and have to change that out.
Yep, and so that like any of these other things too are basically set to go.
Yeah.
There was no,
And as Tony said, like the twinkle track lighting, we're a bit far down the road now. Some of the clouds are in the pack, and so, you know, that might be a little, it's not, can't be done at this point in time, but there might be a little additional cost that would go into it because we're getting far enough along. And then every day as they get more of the base in for some of the seats, and as the seats go in, that becomes harder and harder to do some of that overhead stuff in the seating area of the Performing Arts Center. On the stage, you have some flexibility there.
Ron, when you looked at the recommendation that you guys put together for us, then is there a reason you didn't want the track lighting? I mean, it's not that much more money right now, if it's getting too late in the game?
Yeah, it was just something we've never had lighting on our, did you say on the tennis? Right?
No, on the
Twinkle track lighting. Oh, the twinkle track, okay.
Please don't
I heard
misunderstand.
track, I was thinking big ground track.
Please don't misunderstand. I know 53,000 is a lot of money. I'm just saying, if it's gonna get too far down the path that it maybe can't be done,
Yeah.
is there a reason why maybe it wasn't included?
It was one of those things that initially, when you saw some of the early renderings and videos of the Performing Arts Center that were planned to be designed in there, it's something I think if some of you have seen the Wisconsin Dells Performing Arts Center that they had used in there and got a lot of positive comments from their community. But it is an aesthetic thing, right? And so that's really why it got pulled out initially, and that's why, you know, it's still listed as a lower priority just because it's not a you know, it's not a utilitarian thing. It is one of those aesthetic things. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, that's just saying.
I just wanted to understand.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, you know, to Nicole's point, I think I'm comfortable with what you're proposing. I think I'd like to better understand number 8 and the experience for the kids versus the practice fields of number 2 for the baseball and softball, only because I'd like all of our varsity kids to have a similar experience.
Yep, I agree.
And so I would like to maybe see that prioritized a little higher. But I'm comfortable with the recommendation that you guys have made.
And I just want to reiterate, as long as, make sure I'm reading this correctly. So this does not touch our contingency funds that we've established, either owner direct or the ones that CG Schmidt holds. And it'll still reserves about $250,000 for any other unexpected costs that might arise.
Correct, yeah.
That we can go back. And it's also exciting. I mean, when I look at that list, we've already taken like 5 of those things, 6 of those things out of the
Right.
list.
And there's some things in there where, I'll be honest, like, the roof structure for the practice field dugouts, that may be something that at some point we wanna tackle with our building trades kids, right? And so, there are some of those items that probably move down the list just because, do we have to have, we don't even currently have dugouts on our JV baseball, and so to have, a roof over the dugouts, yep, when it's raining or when it's storming, we're gonna wish we had them. But it's not something, they can go to the varsity dugouts, right, as they're waiting that out. And so, and it's one of those things that we basically thought might end up being a good project in a cost savings by having, some of our students do it. They get a learning experience and we're paying materials and getting it done in a different way. So that's what factored into some of the other items that are on there as well.
I will just weigh in my personal opinion. I don't see anything here that we need to do right now. I think we should take an ultra-conservative approach and just give it another month to see what the contingencies do. Make sure that we've got everything we need for funds to cover what we absolutely need before we look at this additional spending. Geopolitical situation, unknown what commodities are gonna be doing. I'd like to see where we get with the rest of the building before we make these decisions, because I don't think it's gonna be that big of an impact to wait.
There'd be price increases in the estimations.
There may be, I mean, probably more so on the first two. I don't think it's, astronomic, and certainly, other than landscaping costs are usually pretty affordable. So if you have to repair some landscaping, put down some new seating, that's usually a pretty affordable thing to do. The Performing Arts Center is the one that I would probably say is a little more time sensitive. Can you add the electric hoist set at a later point as a retrofit or whatever? Because that's somewhat what we're doing even now. Yeah, you can do that later, but I think while and I'm not guaranteed that Main Stage is gonna get that for that price, but while Next Electric is on site and while Main Stage is on site, if it is Main Stage who ends up doing it, I think there would be some, and before you hang curtains and do all those other things that come with the Performing Arts Center, so that would be the one, I would be more worried about that one, quite honestly.
Mike, would you be willing to, kind of split out the recommendation and look towards, that is number 3, it's, one of the more lower priced, looking at some of the other ones. Would you be okay splitting that out to just look at that while we do have the ability to get it done?
I honestly, I hear what you're saying, Ron. I agree, yeah, there's gonna be additional costs, but I don't think it'll be more than, a 5% upcharge. Personally, I'd just rather wait for all of it.
I kind of tend to agree with Mike at this point, but the hoist, I understand, they're installing those now, right?
They're,
Manual ones.
yeah, they're doing all the line sets right now, and so they're in there working overhead.
I'd be more inclined to do that now
rather than put the manual ones in
Yeah.
and then take them out.
Right.
And you basically gonna throw them away.
They'll still have some counterweighting systems in there, so you're not gonna throw that away. However, the balancing and the setting of it all, gets impacted when you switch it to electric hoist, so there is some work that happens in there, but. So they'll still have the counter sets, but that'll mean that you just need a smaller hoist that's driving the whole system than if you had no counterbalancing in there.
So we have all the electrical hookups and everything to have that done now.
The electrical hookups for those aren't there, so that's why having Next on site becomes important. And that's costed into this right now, with them just pulling some of those conduit and doing it while they're still here. And then Main Stage, if Main Stage would get the hoists themselves, they're the rigging people who've done all the rigging on backstage. And so, again, having them here, adding the retrofit to the system that they designed and installed, I think would be good, personally, so.
So Teresa, can we make a motion to do line item number 3
We
and
can.
not 1 and 2?
Well, we were only gonna do 1 and 3 anyway. The only recommendation is only 1 and 3 right now. So just the varsity fields and the electric hoists in the pack. Yeah, I think, yeah, we certainly can. And I'll just add, I certainly, appreciate the recommendation and would support your recommendation, but also hear what you're saying. So if the board wants to split them out, I'm fine with that. I think it is important that we probably get, the electric hoists for the pack moving so that they know that we're gonna move forward with that for sure.
I would like to make a motion to approve the, for electric hoists,
Line item number 3.
line item number 3.
I will second that motion.
One thing I didn't mention that as you made the motion that also came into mind is, it's a lot easier and nicer to work in there right now before the wood floor goes down on the stage, so.
True.
That's another factor that I failed to mention earlier.
One question I have, you mentioned that I thought the conduit and everything was in for the baseball field lights.
All the conduits are ran, so all the underground work is done. They were going to put the base in, and we had that conversation. They put all the bases in where the blacktop is, but like the outfield ones that are like in the grass, they did not put in just because they were like, all right, are we sure that we're gonna have that? Because that was a conversation we had about 6-8 months ago. And we were leaning that way. I basically had told them, yep, let's get those other bases in, and then Ryan got a little nervous and Tony got a little nervous, and so they held up. So there is some of that, right? There's always, the further out you are, where it is. And so I think when I did speak a couple months ago, I said, yep, all those bases are in. And even when I talked to them, they said, yep, they're all in, because I asked them before I said it to you guys, and then all of a sudden last meeting, they're like, oh yeah, no, the ones in the grass aren't in. So I was like, oh, well, all right. So
That's something that we could do now, before you do any of the seeding, grading, final grading and things like that.
I would want to ask them, if it's cost effective to do it that way, and it might be, or if they say we're far enough along now that it's not gonna be a huge difference, but certainly in 2 weeks, we could bring that back and have that conversation.
You said the conduit wiring and everything is there.
All the underground is
Just-
done,
Just the concrete.
but the bases haven't been set.
But the bases are included in this price then?
Yes, yeah. That's,
Are you able to just pull that piece of it out? Just that,
yeah,
doing that piece and
Yeah.
bring it back to us?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm fine with this, the motion is, but I'm not as close to construction. So Mike, help me understand what you're fearful of, because our owners rep, C.G. Schmidt and Ron and Joe, who have been so close to this, are recommending this. Why are you fearful of it? What might be coming that I don't know?
I'd have to go back and look, but I think from the last update to this, that those contingencies dropped quite a bit. Is that accurate?
yeah, they had some movement in there. I mean, certainly as we finalize some of like securities and cameras and some of those, and even just as you finish out spaces, right? Sometimes you encounter things and you go, oh, yeah, we need this, or, we need to have, different controls, better controls on these doors or whatever it might be. There is more movement, right, than just when you're putting up walls. Certainly the big scary things are gone, like you don't know what's underground until you start excavating, and that's a big scary thing. it's less scary than certainly like a renovation or, you know, a remodel where when you open a wall, you don't know what you're gonna get. So there aren't as many of those. It's really more of either things that, you know, Jeremy, Joe and I, or Ryan and Alex, or even the CGS team identify as we're finishing out the project of, oh yeah, we probably should have considered this, or, oh yeah, this doesn't look quite like we wanted it to. We need to make an adjustment here. And so they're typically at this point not huge cost items, but there are things, right? So-
Because they had alluded that those change orders were coming during their
Yeah,
last update.
yeah, and so
to us.
that-
said you
that's
will
gonna be
see that
lowering some of
change.
these,
So
yeah.
they still went ahead recommending that these things were safe to do with the contingency that they knew they were spending.
Yeah, that's the last,
And that's, I guess, why I'm just trying to understand it.
Yeah, so from.
Because I don't want to spend more to say, oh, now we wish we'd have done it.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking the
And so
question,
that's
because for
why I
me,
wanna
it's
understand.
that trend where it was, we're good, and then they were actually talking about, we could release some of the contingency funds, and we were talking about actually spending contingency funds
Mhm.
rather than, this conversation is different, right?
Right,
When-
this
when-
is, right.
When we first talked about it, was talking about spending those contingency funds they were gonna release. Now we're talking about spending the excess over, you know,
From
monies we've
earnings,
earned, right?
Right.
So
I think somewhat
to
that
me,
was
that
them-
shift from them in confidence where we went from, we could return some contingency funds. I just tend to be super conservative to make sure that we've got all the contingencies covered. If we go over it all, we've got the funds in our pocket, and then we as a board know exactly what we have left to spend on this stuff, because we don't have to make the decision right now, right?
and to be fair to them, I think some of their change in recommendation was recognizing that that's probably the mindset of our board, and so they were taking a conservative approach to it by what they were recommending right now, by not even touching the contingency and not even using the full additional allocation. But again, that's, there's not a reason why we can't delay on that and bring it back again. And, but I agree with the motion that's out there, that I think doing the electric hoists for the Performing Arts Center is more time effective to get done now.
At the end of the project, we have to use this money.
Yeah, all the
Also-
proceeds, you know, all the proceeds from the project, there are a few things in there as was said that were, you know, dollars that are outside, but I mean, like, food service dollars have to be spent on food service equipment. The grant dollars have to be spent on the grant. So there's some of those things that don't have a lot of latitude either, but yes, the dollars, you know, are allocated toward the project, right? And so, but we have through, I may have misspoke at the last meeting. It's 5 years from when the initial bans were issued, and the initial bans were issued in December of 2022. So we actually would have till December. You don't want to go right up to the end because you want to be able to do some of those arbitrage calculations. But you would have up through about the fall of 2027 to commit those dollars out. So again, if it's something we wanted to do later this summer so that we have those lights in place for the spring, you know, it's something we could wait. If we had to wait even longer, we could. It just gets a little more problematic as we get further out.
So we have a motion, I mean, I would say I kind of agree that, I hear what everyone's saying, I think it's fine, so I think this motion is fine, and then if we can bring it back at the next meeting to talk further about it, and the construction people will be here at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think now through the end of the project, this is gonna be kind of a rolling conversation. Not that a motion has to be done at every board meeting, but I think it's a conversation that we're gonna have continually going forward.
And I think that's important, because I think, knowing where you guys are at and knowing what things we can do and to make sure we are being fiscally responsible and, making sure we're not adding more costs potentially in the future. And to Mike's point, being fiscally responsible, making sure we have the right things in place. So the motion on the table right now is to approve the motorized electric hoists for the PAC, the alternate log line item number 3. Any other questions or discussions on that? All those in favor by voice vote say aye.
Aye.
Nay?
Nay.
Just Mike Frossa?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. So motion carries to do that, and we'll bring it back. Thanks for the discussion. It's
That was good.
All right, finally, we have our referendum update.
Sure. So I'll just quickly go over some of the work that's being done. First, we are in presentation season. We've got multiple presentations seemingly every day. Today, we were at the Bering Senior Center, had a great turnout. I think, was it Sue that counted 64? I can't remember.
Is that how many? I think that's, I had.
Might have been Marge.
Standing room only.
Yeah.
Should have been selling concessions or something, so. It was great, that far exceeds anything that we've seen previously, and it was a very engaged group, asked a lot of good questions, and felt like it was a great use of our time, so special thanks to the folks that were able to come out and join us today. If you haven't gotten enough of this presentation, 7:30 tomorrow morning, we're gonna be at the YMCA for the fireside chat, so we're looking forward to that. Then we've got Optimus, Kiwanis, a variety of others, so we're gonna be all over town, chatting with people, providing information. As I've said previously, we're really trying to move from a more formal presentation to a dialogue with the community, and I think that served us well. We have a newsletter that we put together that will be going out this week, so that'll go out to every household in the community. That'll largely focus on the upcoming referendum. Our social media work continues. There's a lot of good work between some of the videos, the posts, good information that we're putting out there. We have our first podcast for the district that was recently released. So for those of you that want to hear Joe Monroe and Jim Curran talk for 45 minutes, mostly Jim Curran, if we're being honest, you can check that out. Reached out to Channel 15 News, and they'll be coming down to cover the Monroe High School preview event, talk a little bit about the referendum work that's going on. And then, as Teresa said, we've got the upcoming events with Legacy Night on March 17th, which is also known as Jeremy Jackson's birthday party. And then also the preview event on Thursday, March 26th. So a lot of things happening, a lot of people hard at work to make sure that the community has all the information they need, and we feel good about the work. Ron, anything you want to add to that?
Probably, just want to touch, I don't know that they've started advertising it yet, but we are working on a night with WKZ to have a kind of a radio forum, so.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. I think right now the tentative, was it the 25th, Ron?
I believe so, yeah.
Double check that. Yep, Wednesday, the 25th, what we're planning right now. I'll confirm it when I'm at the radio station tomorrow, but 7:00 p.m. on Wednesday, the 25th, we'll have a live radio show where Big Radio has been collecting questions from the community, and it'll be Ron, myself, Jim Curran, will be answering those questions and making sure that everyone in Monroe has the information they need. So looking forward to that, trying to make sure we got all our bases covered. We look forward to that opportunity and thankful that Big Radio is willing to host that for us. Any questions? Feedback?
I had the opportunity to go to the meeting today, and Joe did a wonderful, he had some tough questions asked today, and he did a wonderful job in answering them.
Yeah, between you also, Ron.
Yep.
A lot of the
Yeah, you guys did a
explanations,
great
trying
job.
to break that down into what I would consider layman's language. Yeah, it gets extremely complicated, but both of you did very, very good job. And I think very well received from everything that we heard afterwards, so.
Well, and again, thanks to the people that asked some tough questions, right? It's not always easy to do that when you're sitting with your neighbors and knowing that not everyone agrees with you, but we genuinely appreciate it when people
Yeah,
ask those
I mean,
questions.
it's an
We want that
opportunity
dialogue.
to answer that question that individual has, but also other people may have that aren't asking it, or it gives you a chance to, even if their mind wasn't there, elaborate on what the full picture is, and so that people have a better understanding of all the factors that are in play, so.
Thanks to everyone that came.
All right, so on to information items, liaison reports. Leanne's not here, but she'd probably say that Shrek was a huge hit. She
She
did a
was
fantastic
unbelievable,
job.
unbelievable.
Boardsmanship and administration.
I don't have anything. I largely covered, you know, my stuff in the referendum portion.
Board of Education correspondence. Jim has given me nothing, so I don't think there is anything. Committee updates, Nicole?
We had the curriculum meeting earlier, which I'll let you fill that in since you're in charge of that. And then EIE meets tomorrow at noon.
I'm good.
All right, so like Nicole said, curriculum met before this meeting. Todd and all the administrators did a great job updating us kind of on mid-year data and the things that they are doing in their buildings to help students, and did a really fantastic job, so appreciate all of those efforts. The other thing I'll say is the Booster Club is having their event on Friday at the YMCA, this Friday at the YMCA, so people are able and interested to help support the Booster Club. They certainly support us significantly.
There are tickets available at the door.
And there's tickets available.
In case you did not plan ahead.
Mike Froseth.
Nothing.
Was able to go to the launch presentations on Friday. I wish I could have attended every single one.
Oh,
They
same.
are amazing.
Agreed.
And what Kara and team are doing, and those kids are just fantastic. So always love that day. And then I believe there's a school board forum coming up, March
Week from
16th.
tonight.
Yes,
At
next
the,
Monday.
MAC, right?
There
At
seven,
6
yep.
o'clock. So, so that's awesome too, so people can hear about all the candidates. That's it for me.
Agenda for future discussion, I just wrote down, making sure you bring back the alternative logs
Yep.
for the new high school construction. 5 minutes for the press. All right, so I have 8:31. I want to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Terry at 8:31, a motion by Terry, second by Nicole to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Refreshing.